I'm Juke Box, and this is my story.
Okay. So, let's bring it back. So, where were you born?
I was born in Connecticut County. I'm country. 2 years old, barefoot, running through sawgrass. Trailer trash, they call me that. I'm 32. I'm all that. But it takes a lot for someone to believe in something. Simplify daily is my credo. And I learned it well. I fought hard. I fought real good. When I was discharged from the military, me and my wife, I was 23 years. Till death do we part. Buried my wife. One day she looked at me and she said, I'm going to buy a pack of cigarettes. I said, okay, baby. Okay, baby was not the last words I wanted to say to my wife. For the next 8 months, my children asked me, where's mom? I did not know. I taught piano for 20 years.
Also, did your wife, leave you?
For 8 months, yes. My kids asked. All my students asked, all my PTA meetings, members asked, where's your wife? I did not know. My neighbor kids found my wife's skeletal remains. And they came and picked up my children.
She died?
And I was indicted for murder. And I signed a confession. 84 days later, the toxicology report came back from the coroner. I did not kill my wife.
It's for people accused you
I'd
of killing your wife.
signed a confession. I lost my mind. They put me in a mental institution for 90 days. After I was taken out of there because I was convinced I'd killed my wife. Knowing now, years later and wisdom later, it was killed. But I did not kill my wife. I love my wife.
Yeah, but you was accused of doing it.
And in a strange situation like that, Pensacola is where this happened, and it's a small town. And we're famous already. So whenever the last house on the left came up on the news report on Coker Lane, they were talking about me. This happened 16 years ago. My wife had fibromyalgia. My wife also had muscular sclerosis. The last 13 years of our marriage, she was bedridden. I raised our children. When I got out of that mental institution, I couldn't go home. I had a home. I couldn't go there. There's ghosts everywhere. And all different shapes of home. But I couldn't go in that house. I didn't know anything else. I didn't even know how to feed, clothe myself on the street. But the poor are more generous. And they showed me how to live. And I thrived. I took all my training and all my mental stability I had left. And one day I asked Christ in my heart. When I did, I asked for Christ like such the word Christian. Three days later, I was a mechanic. I've been a mechanic all my life. Someone dropped an engine on my hand the next. Now, at the time I saw my hand, I saw a hole in my hand. And I knew right then I'd asked for this. The doctor said, you got 7 broken bones in your hand. They said I played the guitar. He said, you'll never play the guitar again. He lied. He said, 4 years. 4 years I played again. I still, this day, cannot get him to admit that he lied. He's my neighbor from a small town. When he said go, I said, wait a minute, I gotta get my shoes from somebody's house. That night, I went to jail. Something I did not do. For 90 days, I did it again, 90 days. I sat in jail And what I said was done. I wasn't even on camera. But if God wants something done, it's got to be done, man. Obey. I've traveled 7 states. And my only message is love one another as thyself. History.
So, got a question. So, what is the craziest thing that you have saw while being on the streets?
That's not fair.
In New Orleans.
You know that's not fair.
In New Orleans.
Okay, so I seen the craziest thing, and the next day you see something crazier. That's not a fair question.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
To me, you gotta understand, on the country boy, women don't talk the way they talk out here. It's not my culture. I accept it all, but it's not my culture. The craziest thing. Tragedy or funny?
Tragedy.
I stepped off that bus with a quarter-pound of drugs to sell. First day I was here. 3 boys took a bike and busted over my head. When I stood up, I said, what the fuck? First one ran. The second one came with half heart. When I stepped over him, he must have been related to that third one. But he was screaming, holding his knee. And around that third one came a law heart. When that ambulance driver was loading that second one up, the third one was gone. The very first one, he was gone. He was small. But that ambulance driver pushed that last man into there. Black and red truck, I didn't even know about none of this. I watched it happen. I sat on a milk crate waiting to go to jail. I guess nobody else in the town would have, but I did. That cop took one step out. Looked at the ambulance driver. The ambulance driver shook her head. Cop looked at me, sat back in his car, didn't even ask my name. I found that to be crazy. But I learned, if you don't use a weapon, they don't take you to jail. That's a tragedy.
So I have one more question for you. You know, since earlier, you told me earlier about, if the tragedy that happened with your wife, like, do you ever think about your wife?
I'm broken. Like, all I have to say about that is, if you don't marry your best friend, you're wasting your time. It's not gonna work. And she wasn't my best friend. We're married for 17 years old. So almost 40. And I love my wife.
And so do you still have one relationship with your kids?
Hard on your sleeve. 4 of my kids think that I killed their parents. One of my child's committed suicide. I want to speak to one of my daughters. And that's a story in itself. A guy came up to me and handed me $50, told me to go buy a phone. If you give me instructions, I do as you tell me to. I went and bought that phone. $25 per phone, Dollar General, $25 service. 2 hours later, my daughter calls me up. This is a daughter that told me something at her mother's funeral. I thought I'd never see her again. The very next week, she pulled up on me from Chattanooga, Tennessee, to have lunch. And then she had to drive back, she had to go work next day. Yeah, unbound blessing. It takes a lot of work. But I owe, okay? The things I did over there. I mean, you walk into a debriefing room, and your estimated casualty report is 356. Well, what if a couple people are going to see their cousin that day? Well, it's 354, right? What if Uncle Larry's over? It's 355. I owe. Am I guilty? Yes. Am I forgiving? Yes. Thank God. But by his stripes I was healed, both physically and both mentally, thank God. I had a very, very loving wife, very understanding. 20 plus years I had the same nightmare. Same nightmare. My daughter I was talking about, 38 years old, she asked me, Daddy, what about screaming off hospitals and stuff? She was 30 years old when I told her I served in the Marine Corps. And you don't understand, I come on furlough, come down here in Nolazine, holding my daughter in my hand, you don't understand? I kept that life from them. It's not a good life. It's horrible. But the reason why I don't deserve heaven is because before I jumped out at C-130, I knew exactly what I had to do. I couldn't wait to go do it. Never dog. Come aboard. But he still $12.2 million. For the nuclear warhead resell you, you come. Now I'm gonna keep the political stuff out because I don't know the political stuff.
So, you know, one more question. Like, anyway, what do you think it would take for you? Like, what type of help do you think that you need?
Benton Moss.
To actually, get you up the street.
I got the answer. Benton Moss.
Huh?
Benton Moss. This man approached me. He looked like he did a bid. He says, "I can get your birth certificate and the police stamp card." I said, "No, first. I already been through y'all crap." I asked around about this man. This man been on the streets with me. I'm gonna get a bid. Now he's casebook. The housing authority that I just talked to my last interview. The supervisor wanted to come out and meet me because it was so abnormal. I already had my housing document before I got to this. Benton Moss. She said Benton Moss did that. I wanted to meet that man. He was gone. But that's the answer to that question. That man. Yeah, there's all these caseworkers up there. That guy, he's the reason why I'm getting off the street. And I'm not getting a rapid housing. It's not the same what he got. But he got me motivated. It's what it took. Last time they gave me house, no big deal. Yeah, whatever, you're gonna get me out the street, I'll take it. This time it's gonna be mine instead of my ghost's. But you'll see me again.
Gotcha.
You will see me again.
And but we appreciate you for doing this interview. If we didn't want that much from you, we're gonna bless you after this.
But I do want to say, if you ever give me $1 per shoes, clothes, if you even said get a job, haters make you great. Because I can sing through that, I can sing through anything. So I thank Nolazine. He, man, told me to thank whoever got me there in New Orleans did. Y'all changed my venue. Everybody loves the blues. Oh, and I'm going for a world record. Aretha Franklin. I'm gonna knock her name down a notch and leave her back.